Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. I'm S.A. Baz Collins. This is my co-host Vance Bastion, and today we have a delightful film. It's educational, it's heart tugs at the heartstrings, it's historical in many respects, and we're talking about the movie Pride. And was produced in 2014, and it is about a UK gay activist working to help the miners during the lengthy strike of the National Union of Mine Workers in the summer of 1984. And this is a true story. This is a dramatized version of that true story. But some of the characters that are portrayed in this film were real life people. And so you get to find out in the end what happened to them in the film. So it's a delightful story. It's a wonderful set of cast of characters. It's got some historical stuff. It's got some queer evolution of how Pride evolved in Britain at the time. So it's done some amazing stuff. But before I get to my dissertation on it, why don't we let Vance talk about it?
I loved it. How was that for elucidation?
End of review.
No, it is, as Beth said, super heartwarming. A lot like Billy Elliot and other British cinema, it felt real. And I know they were portraying real events, which I think helped that feeling. But you're watching it and you feel like you're watching real people, not Americanized television, which is beautifully brilliant. The other thing that just cracked me up is we had some of the best villains out of England in this.
Yes.
Davy Jones, Dolores Umbridge, and Moriarty.
Yeah.
So it's fun to watch them be good guys.
Yeah. It was amazing to watch. You know, I mean, it's Imelda Staunton, it's Bill Nighy, but they melted into the realness of these characters. And, Imelda Staunton's character, she would have been my, found family mom, because she was a bulldog. She was one of those short women that you just get the hell out of the way when they charge.
But she also, at every turn, did the right thing.
Oh yes, absolutely. Well, that's what she was a bulldog about.
Right.
She didn't let anyone get away with any bullshit.
Right.
She was the bullshit person. She was the barometer, and if she thought you were bullshitting, she cut you off at the knees.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that about her. But what's really interesting about the story is that it begins with generally a queer boy who suddenly discovers that he wants to suddenly reach out and find out more about his burgeoning queerness, his gayness that he's coming to really into in his later teen years. And it starts on his birthday, where he has turned 20, and his mom gives him a camera. And so he thinks, I want to go and hit the sights in London. So he goes out to London, and it's right when they're having their version of Pride, which at that point was highly political. It was at a point where they did not have a lot of the safety things that are in place that are there now.
No.
And there's a delightful channel on YouTube. I will put a link to them. A YouTube gay couple who do talk about this film, and it's a lovely discussion that they have. I found myself so engrossed in it, I was talking at them on the screen, so it's definitely worth watching. And I'll put a link to their channel down below if you want to go check them out as well. But it's lovely to hear it from a Brit side of what they thought about this film that was very much a part of their own culture and their own gay history. But the film does a really good job of really making you believe you're in 1984.
Yeah. It does.
Both through the music, the costumes, everything. Go ahead.
Does say so. The basic premise, just to sort of finish your story in a nutshell, the young gay activists see the plight of the miners and decide to raise money to help them. They have a bit of trouble searching around for
and actually it's Mark Ashton, the lead character, that has that idea.
Yes.
Because remember, he's watching the news.
Yes.
And all of a sudden the idea just springs on him. He has to convince the gays.
He does.
To become involved.
And once they have some money, they have a difficult time finding a local community union local that will take it. When they finally do, it's sort of like one person said yes and nobody else on the board had. But they build a solid friendship with the gay activists supporting the miners, so that at the end of the movie, when the gay rights issue comes up, the miners come march for them. It's so amazing. And it shows the power of two people who would never normally speak to each other coming together.
Yeah, it's two completely opposite communities finding a way to join hands and say, if you have our back, we have yours. And, something this country could do a hell of a lot more with. But what I also loved was that every single character had their own agency in the story.
Yes.
There were no secondary characters that were there as wallpaper.
Right.
Every single one of them had a beginning and ending point in this movie, which is rare in a lot of films. Sometimes you get second and third characters that are just complete flyaways. In this movie, that's not the case. They all have a real agency and presence in this film. So, and the comedy is there as much as the heartstrings getting tugged and the crying moments, and some of them are shocking moments. This movie has it all. I mean, it really is a tremendous film. George MacKay plays the young gay man who's coming out, and he actually, people will remember him from 1917, which was a big Academy Award winner a couple of years ago. He does a brilliant job playing this character, and you really believe he's the small town boy trying to find his way in the urban gay world and finding his found family. And that's really, it's probably one of the best examples of found family in film that I've ever seen.
It really is.
It shows how it was all, how gays find that, how they make that journey. And, even if you swap the people out, the journey relatively is the same. And that's one of the things I loved about the film. I thought the acting was just spectacular. I don't think one person was missing.
So let me give you my ratings. Overall production, I gave it a 4. They didn't have a huge budget, but it was very well done with what they were able to do. Script screenplay, 4.5. I never once felt a stumble over the lines. The reason I knocked it from a 5 is because some of the accents, while very accurate, would be very difficult. Especially the Welsh accent is kind of hard for American ears to follow at first.
Yeah.
So I brought it down for that. Sound lighting score, 4. It did exactly what it needed to do. It didn't get in the way. They had some great music from the era, but it didn't blow my socks off. 4. It was worth it. Art direction, costuming, 4.5. They dug into the old chests and found the old clothes, and it worked. Casting
and hairstyles.
Wow. There's even a dig at a hairstyle. No, that's kind of stunning. Casting, 5. I think everybody was exactly cast perfectly. Directing, 5. The director knew how to bring your emotions through the story, and you never stayed in one emotion very long. Yes. So 5 on that. Queer themes presented, 5. And I'm saying that from a legal and protest standpoint, as opposed to in the home standpoint, but definitely a history worth knowing. And so for that, 5. So personal overall, when you kind of average them together, 4.5, because I can't use weirder decimals.
Okay, so mine pretty much is 5s across the board, with the exception of maybe a kind of slight thing to the script and screenplay. I'd say probably that's a 4.5, because there were some few things that I remember watching it for the very first time, and I was kind of like, oh. And so I remember that feeling. So I didn't really feel that same way with multiple viewings. So it may have just been a perception thing the first time I saw it. But I'm going to knock the screenwriting down just a little bit, because there was something that took me out of the story. But I didn't feel that way the second time around. It's like I was used to it already. So when I watched it and this is a movie I will watch multiple times, because the cast is just spectacular. And it's a marvelous film. So
finish your ratings and then I have a question.
I will give it a 5 for the film, because it is one of my all-time favorites. As I said, this recording, Rotten Tomatoes has 92% for the critics' ratings, and the audiences are 89%, and IMDb has 7.8 out of 10.
Nice. So my question that's not at all related: have you ever watched a film where you didn't like the cast?
Yeah. Right, that I didn't like?
Or you just like, no, this is wrong. These are the wrong people.
Yeah, there have been some times when I've watched things and the casting has been weird.
Okay. Just curious.
So yeah, no. But this cast, by far and away. I mean, compared to some of the other films. I mean, because there's some movies you can watch and you can say, well, that actor did a really good job. They were properly cast. But you could see so-and-so and so-and-so playing the same part and getting away with it. So, but this one was one of the few films where I watched it and I could not think of anybody else playing these characters.
Right.
You know, that's the part that I loved about it, was that I believed them. And by the way, the gentleman who plays Mark Ashton is an American, and his accent was spot on. And in fact, he went to the Royal School of Acting in England because he's from New York, and he decided to do proper acting. So he went and moved to England and went to school there, graduated, and he is now known in the industry for being the king of accents. And so there's another gay film we can watch called The Riot Club. He plays an Anglo-Greek in that and has a Greek accents
Nice.
influence on it. So yeah, so he's become quite the linguist as far as the accents go in acting. So definitely going to check out some of his other films that he's done. There's another one he did with Kit Harington that is a gay film called The Death and Life of John P. something. I can't remember the title off the top of my head. But anyways, it's a film that he did that with Kit Harington. So I really want to check that out as well, now that I know that he's in that film as well.
So what are we watching next?
So the next film we're going to watch is Akron. It was produced in 2017, and it is not a coming of age story in so much as a relationship story that has one hell of a twist in it that puts our boys in peril. So we will check out Akron. Take it again. We will see Akron next week, and we will talk about it. So until then, this is Baz Collins.
Vance Sebastian.
And we're saying we'll see you at the movie soon, but check out these movies and let us know down in the comments if there's something you want us to review. We're more than happy to check it out. And also remember to like, subscribe, and tell your friends about us. And until then, we will talk to you soon. Take care.
Bye, everybody. Bye.